on, come on. Good. Our main practice exercise inside with Master is going to be pretty simple. We're just going to be practicing all the basic commands that he knows, adding little distractions, adding duration, to continue to build how well he does them. What we're going to need when we practice, and just in general with him around the house, so that everyone can stay consistent and that we can stay on top of him, is I would recommend having him drag a leash for a while. This is really common to do with puppies, is to have them just drag a leash around the house. And that way, if he jumps up on somebody, you can just take the leash, nope, off, and then get him into a sit. It's a really easy way to be able to get him away from doing bad habits without having to chase him around or wrestle him or grab him or bribe him. You can just step on the leash, pick it up, lead him away to something else. He's a baby. He's still learning what's good, what's bad. So the easier it is for us to stop him from doing bad stuff and guide him towards doing good stuff, the better we're going to be in the long run. I also have treats on me. I'm just using his kibble. Nope. Good boy. I'm just using his kibble. So exactly like for a situation like that, he jumped up on me because he was getting bored and I'm sitting down next to him. I was able to take his leash really easily, tell him no, pull him off, he goes into a down. Good boy. He knows down usually works to get him food. Yeah, it does. Good boy. So when we practice, that's all we're going to have set up. Break. And what we're going to be doing is running through all of his commands. Master. Good boy. Sit. Good. Break. Sit. I think I mentioned he likes to default into a down. This doesn't bother me. I don't really care if he goes to down when I ask for a sit. If you really want to be precise about it, just get him back up and ask for a sit until he goes into an actual sit. Break. Sit. Good. Good. Break. Master. Sit. Nope. Sit. Break. Sit. Good. Yes. Master. Down. Now, a couple things that I want you to notice. When I tell him good, that means that he's doing the correct thing currently. Good. And that he's going to get some kind of reward brought to him. So I can pat him on the head. I can bring him a treat. But when I tell him good, I want him to stay. So good means you're getting a reward for what you're currently doing, and you're only going to get that reward if you continue doing it. So if I say good, and I have a treat, nope, and I have a treat out here, he's not going to get it if he comes up to my hand to get it. I'm going to tell him, nope, I'm going to take that treat away. He has to go back to doing what I asked before the treat's going to come all the way to him. Good. See, like that. Break. Now, when I tell him break, it means he can get up, he's down, I might ask him something else, he can go say hi. It just means he's finished with that specific command, but there's no reward in it for him. He might get a pat in the head, might get to go sniff a patch of grass or go pee on something, but he's not going to get a treat or a toy or anything super special. Now, with puppies and when you're in distracting areas or there's something that makes them kind of nervous, we'll want a little bit more enthusiasm. So I don't necessarily want to use break in those situations because break's kind of boring, right? You can just get up, you're done. There's not much to it. So I have another word that I can use that means that you're finished, but that you should be a little bit more excited about having done whatever you just did. And you should be a little bit more excited about coming to interact with me and work with me because you're going to get a reward now. You're going to get a reward after getting up from my hand or a toy, something like that. And so this would be, Master, good boy. Down. If I told him, yes, that means he can get up. And so there's a lot more enthusiasm with our yes than there is with break because he's expecting something really interesting. He's expecting something fun. He's expecting food. I can give him a toy or food. He tends to prefer food. So I usually use that. Good. So those are the main marker words is what those are called. The yes, the no, the down, the break, good, all that. Those are marker words. We're marking what he's doing or what he just did and what the consequence is. So if I ask him to down, he downs, I tell him good. That means what you just did and what you're currently doing is correct. Now the result is that you're gonna get something, some food or a pat in the head brought to you, and keep doing what you're doing. If he hears yes, it means that what he just did was correct, he's done. He's gonna get food or a toy from me after he gets up and comes to me. If he hears break, it means he was correct, he's done, not much is gonna happen, he can go sniff. If he hears no, it means that what he just did was incorrect, there's gonna be some kind of consequence. And so that can be, you jumped up, I told you no, now you get a pop on the leash. So that's the consequence, is you get a leash correction, you have to go back to sitting. Or it can be, I told you to down and you got up and I said no, and I have a treat in my hand. Well, now the consequence is that treat goes away because you got up when you're supposed to be letting down, until you go back to doing what you were supposed to do. Okay, more, bud. Break. Something that I want you to keep in mind for just general life, even when you're not practicing, is if he defaults to any good behaviors, like he lays down or he sits in front of you, you can reward that even if you haven't asked for it. Like right now, there's food up on the cabinet over here that he really wants. He tried to get it, realized that didn't work, so now he's just gonna look at it, sit, lay down. I can reward him for that, saying that's a lot better way to get what you want than trying to jump up on the cabinet and knock it over, or barking at it, or pulling me over. Good boy. So I can tell him good and bring him a treat. But now when we're formally practicing, I'll ask him to do specific stuff. Master, good boy. Sit. No break. Master, sit. Good. Almost. Break. Sit. Good. Good. Yes. Okay. Now I also want you to make use of the leash when you practice. I want you to prioritize him listening to your verbals, obviously, but I want him understanding what the leash means as well, so that we can use it if we need it. And so what that's going to look like is, instead of doing a bunch of repetitions where we just ask for down, yes, down, yes, I might do a couple repetitions where I just use the leash, and I want him to understand that when he feels this pressure from the leash, it means a certain thing. So if I put pressure downward on the leash, good. That means he should lay down and the pressure goes away. Break. If I put pressure upward on the leash, that means he should sit and the pressure goes away. You lay down, don't you? I know you do. And the point of practicing with this is so that when we need it, he understands what the leash means. He's not confused, he's not caught off guard, he understands it as a specific cue. And so if we ask him to down and he gets distracted, or there's something going on, or he just is bored, we can use the leash to get him back into a cue, into a command, without having to get food out or lure him or try to get his attention again. We can just use this as a very physical signal to get him to do what we want. No. Master. Good boy. Good. Master. All right. Sit. Like here, we have a distraction. So I asked him to sit, he didn't want to sit. So I can use the leash to get him into a sit and let him know that I really need him to do this specific behavior, even if there's something else going on behind him. Break. Sit. No, you're fine. Good. Down. Good. We can also use it when we're practicing our stays. So at the age that he's at, we're not going to get super sturdy, consistent stays yet. His brain just isn't developed enough to have that self-control, but we can certainly work on them and build them up. So when you're practicing, I don't want you to always have half-second sits or half-second downs. That's not the goal, and he can certainly do more than that. When I ask for a sit or I ask for a down, I want him to maintain it until I tell him he's done. So it's an implied stay, right? Nope. I'm not asking him sit, stay, or down, stay. I'm saying down, or I'm saying sit, and he has to do that until he's released. Again, he's a puppy. He's not going to have super long stays. Don't expect him to go and lay down for 20 minutes at a time. But we can enforce a few minutes. We can enforce while we walk around him. Nope. We can enforce when there's a person behind us. Good. So if he gets up, I don't want to reward him. I don't want to lure him. I'm just going to tell him nope. And I'm going to use the leash and get him back into the position that he's supposed to be in. Good. Then when he's successful in something that had previously challenged him, I'll tell him good and I'll give him a treat.
like walking behind him. He's okay at this sometimes, and sometimes he has a hard time with it. He wants to flip around and look at us. So I'll try to throw that in every time we practice. Good. Squatting down in front of him. Good. Patting him on the head. And then standing back up. Good. Dropping the leash and then picking the leash back up again. Good. Those are all things that are little challenges that you can throw in to really help enforce that stay and make sure that he understands it and that he's making that choice to commit to the stay. And you have to make sure that anytime we expect him to stay, so anytime we give him any kind of command, sit, down, heel, come, anything, we have to let him know when he's done. And so again, the ways that we can do that is we can either release him with just the boring, plain break, and he's done, which you might find after a lot of repetitions, the break kind of starts to lose value and he wants to just stay doing what he was doing. This break's pretty boring. It's like, why am I going to get up if I'm just going to do the same thing again for no reward? It's not a big deal. I'll make him get up. Like, hey dude, you're done. You can get up. But I don't care if he's not super enthusiastic. That's kind of the idea. And we can contrast that with break, down. Our more exciting release cue, which I'll use if there's a lot of distractions or he's getting really bored, or I want some more enthusiasm. Like if I'm doing a recall, I'll want him to be pretty enthusiastic about it. So I'll want to release him into a more energetic state of mind where he's really focused on me and really wants to work with me. And that'll be, yes. That's a good boy. That's about the extent of your inside practice. You'll also want to make sure you throw in some recalls. And he's pretty good at those, so that's just going to be, Master, come. Good boy. Good. Good. Hey. Yes. And with those, I like to reward a few times. I'll tell him good, give him a couple treats in a row. You can back up while you're rewarding to make it really interesting for him. And then I like to get him into a sit at the end. I'm not going to ask for a sit because I don't need him staying in it. I just want him temporarily stopping and sitting when I stop. So if he doesn't sit automatically, I'll lure him up with my hands. Master, come. Good. 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 Yes. Good boy. We can also just practice his response to his name. So all I want when I say his name is for him to look at me. Master. Good. I don't necessarily need him coming to me. I just want him to turn his head and pay attention to what I'm doing. Which isn't really hard when you have food, is it? Master. Yes. Oh.